everyone. This is Pam Reese with Adventures in Aging, and I'm here with my friend
Gary Vandenberg. Pam, it's great to be back again. Let's start by thanking Stride Light, our sponsor. For over 20 years, they've been offering foot orthotic products, and they're a great group of people. I just stopped over there earlier today, in fact. So ask your doctor podiatrist about stridelight.net.
Yes.
Pam, what is our topic today?
So, Gary, before we go into that, I want to thank our listeners.
Absolutely. In fact, today, our topic is from one of our listeners. So I'll get into that in a moment.
Oh, my goodness. So thank you to all of our listeners. Please keep listening and please keep sharing our podcast. So, Gary, our topic today probably has happened to you and I. It's about being scammed.
And in fact, that our topic, I was at a party a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And somebody says, I'm one of your listeners. That blew me away because I'd never met this person
they ask
before.
For your autograph?
Before in my life. They said, are you the person that does that Adventures in Aging? I said, I can't believe I have a listener like you. This is wonderful.
And you didn't know them?
I did not know them. First time I ever met them.
Wow.
And they said they listened to our program and said, you should really do one about scams. And I said, that's an excellent idea. So thank you to that person that brought that up. But what about scams?
Yeah.
You said we deal with it every day, don't we?
We deal with it every day. And at some point in our life, we all probably have come in contact with a scam, whether we knew it or not. But Gary, statistically, 49 million Americans are scammed every year.
49 million. That's like 1 in 10. That's even more than 1 in 10, isn't it?
Yes. And just in 2021, year to date,
yes,
$56 billion have been paid to scammers.
I can't even calculate that in my head. $56 billion?
I can't comprehend it, right?
That's terrible. And I'm sure many of them are older people. I'm sure they're different individuals, and we'll get into that in a few minutes.
Yes. And 29 billion of the scams are done over the telephone.
There, if you just don't answer your phone, right?
No, but my iPhone does say scam.
Mine has started doing that too, just in the last couple of months. And I'm so glad because they were starting to use local numbers. I'm out of town a lot, and I look down, there's a local number. I wonder if that's somebody important. And
they're roving local numbers, right, from areas that you are familiar with.
Yes, for sure.
And over the Internet, $2.7 billion spent with scamming over the Internet.
Oh, I'm sure you get those. Do you get those ones like, it's important to update your information, or there's a package for you?
Yes.
All that stuff is just irritating, and I'm glad we're talking about this today.
So the bottom line is 1 in 10 Americans are scammed.
And they fall for it. Wow. And I'm sure a lot of it's over the phone, isn't it?
It is over the phone. And Gary, 50% of the people that receive scam calls, 50%, Gary, talk to their scammer.
Yeah, I can't believe that. See, I get it right away. I'm easy.
Do you?
I'm easy to just say, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, and just kind of hang up.
As we go along, I'm going to talk about a scam I was involved with and totally fell for it.
Oh.
And because I would have said exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, what is that?
That I wouldn't have fallen for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I did.
Well, those things happen. I would say probably the one that I get going, the first is dealing with like charities, right? People will call, and it's a sad story. They're firemen. There's disasters. There's hurricanes.
They get you in the heart, right?
Oh, yeah, the veterans.
Yes.
And I remember seeing a TV program, and they said like 95% of that money doesn't even ever get to anybody.
Where does it go?
Well, it goes administrative fees or something.
Okay.
But these, when it comes to scams, these are people that are really playing up on your goodwill, right? We're good people, right?
They prey on your emotions.
You're a bad person if you're not going to give money to the firefighters and veterans
or the children's hospital.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's horrible.
And so they'll often use a name of, a connection with something, but it's not always St. Jude's. It's something else. Do you see what I'm saying? It's
something
close.
that sounds legit.
That sounds legitimate. And then, I think one of the keys here, and we'll throw in a couple of do's and don'ts along here, is, that whole immediately. You have to do it today while we're on the phone right now type of thing. And that's what differs. I mean, my college, I went to Bowling Green. They'll call me from time to time, and they'll want some money and support. But there's no like, you have to do it this evening. It's not like, it's not
your scammer wants to keep you on the phone until you make a deal.
Yeah, and it goes back to, if you're not talking to them, you're not going to be lured in there.
That's right.
And
That's right. So the moral is hang up.
Is hang up.
Hang up. As soon as you get asked for money.
Yeah, some of those do's and don'ts. If you feel pressured, I think that's one of the key things, right? If you're feeling like for some reason you're being pressured right now, today, to do something, that's probably not a good
that's
feeling.
a big clue. So, Gary, let's go through some of the most common scams that are happening today. Even as we speak, these scams are happening to someone. So one is the imposter scam. And I think this happens to a lot of people. And this is where you'll receive a call from someone that will prey on your emotions as you were talking and ask you for money. And it could be an unsolicited phone call, a text, a social media message. And this is a person impersonating an organization or a company that you're familiar
with. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it could be, again, it could be a charity, but it could be an established organization. They're saying they're on behalf of this company. I'm calling you for some payment, for some information, something like that.
So one of the bigger organizations that these scam artists will impersonate is governmental agencies. I'm calling you from the IRS. I'm calling you from Medicare.
Oh, those are scary. Those are important.
And a lot of people get scared and they start listening to that.
Oh yeah, I had somebody about a year or so ago calling from the IRS, right? Well, that freaked me out. What is this all about? Well, it was legitimate, but and that's
and
that's
one of
those do's or don'ts was to call back and validate, the address. I looked it up on the internet. I made sure that they were the real person and not an imposter there.
You may even get something in the mail that is from an attorney, from a reputable looking type of law firm or business, telling you that you have back taxes or you have unpaid money that you owed them over the last 10 years and they're updating their files. These types of scams are prevalent.
Incredible. And anything else on that one? We're going to touch on probably like 20 different scams here in the next 30 minutes. Can you believe that?
So we're going to fly through there's so many.
And one of them that jumps out to me that I guess I didn't think about, but it's called the grandparent scam.
Oh, have you heard that makes me sad, yes.
And the grandparent scam is typically somebody is calling on behalf of their grandchild. There's a couple different routes here. One is saying, I'm a friend of your granddaughter's and she's in trouble. Right? She needs some
Grandma,
help.
That's not happening unless it's your son or daughter.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Talk about break your heart, right?
Yes.
And then it's either that one or the person calls and says they're the grandkid.
What?
Hey, Grandpa, it's Gary.
No. Oh.
How are you doing?
Oh, gosh, you call your 90-year-old grandpa who might be a little cognitively impaired or can't hear.
Right. And actually anymore with the internet that people are getting emails like this.
Oh,
Hi,
my
Grandpa,
gosh.
how you doing?
Oh, how scary.
And
this scares me.
People fall into that. And, a lot of people have lots of grandkids and they don't always stay on top of that. And what's interesting about that whole scam is, again, there's that urgency, something bad is happening, it's the sensitivity. Don't you want to help out? You've got to help out. And the whole confusion factor of how do we do this? And, we have to do it tonight. They're in jail.
Oh my gosh.
They're in a hospital. They're in a
Gary.
bad accident. Something has happened.
I could just see even myself, right? If someone called me and said, hi, I am Jameson's teacher, and he's in trouble, I would be thrown into a frenzy, right?
Right.
I would know. I would have to take a moment and sort through that. What if it's real?
Right.
And because at first it's playing on your heart.
Right. And it's very simple, but it's very devious, right?
Yes.
Keep that in mind. It's interesting. I subscribe to a service. I won't say what it is.
Okay.
But I can type in anybody's name and I can find out every relative you have, where you live, every email, every phone number you have. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it's $7 a month. And I can find out everything about somebody. And so
You're kind of an investigator.
Yeah, this is not scamming, but I'll say how I used it. So in assisted living, those decisions are made sometimes over a couple months, right?
Right.
So I would, somebody call and say, I'm looking for information on my mother,
Yeah.
Well, if I had her phone number, I could find her. I could find out who her mom's name is. I could find out if her mom was a widow or still married. I found out how much her mom's house was worth.
Oh my gosh, Gary, is this legal?
I found out who the lady's calling, her brothers and sisters, which ones are out of town. Yeah, so before they even came in for a tour, I knew more about them.
Oh my gosh.
Than you would imagine.
This just shows how our information is free on the internet.
Well, it's $7 a month. But
okay, but the information is still there. They're collecting it.
Isn't that wild?
Yes. Okay, so one of the scams, Gary, that I was actually caught up in is a tech scam.
A tech scam?
Yes, the tech support phone scams.
I have problems with my computer and stuff all the time. So you responded to one of these.
Okay, no, this is a real story, right? Real story happened about, I'd say even the last year. So with my company, I received a new computer. And I had to follow the steps in setting up that computer and getting my access, right?
Right.
And in doing that, I had to connect to my Wi-Fi at home and go through that whole internet capability process and trying to get into technical support.
Oh, it's so frustrating when it doesn't work.
It didn't work.
Okay.
Suddenly, I get a pop-up on my computer.
You need some help.
Hi, this is Chad from Apple Support. Right?
Oh, yeah. That sounds legitimate.
Sounded legit. We have detected a problem. Please call us for support to whatever technical term it was to help you complete your your setup or whatever.
Yeah. Wow.
Stupid me, right?
Well, I don't know. I probably would have been following them.
I had just gone through 45 minutes of I can't do this. Legitimate message pops up with Chad, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, wow. Okay, good, great.
My hero.
Yeah, thank you, Chad.
Yeah.
I call Chad.
And that's part of these scams, too, is there's the hope that something's going to improve, right?
Yeah, so listen to this. So I call. So my first clue should have been that the person sounded like Nigerian.
Okay, they didn't sound,
but then again, a lot of times you get support that is not in this country.
Yeah. In India, there's other places.
No, it's legit.
My plane was canceled last night. I called this support line twice. Yeah. Well, I could barely understand what people were saying, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it was still the idea that, we are used to using customer service lines. That's what we do these days.
We do, and we know that a lot of those customer service reps are not in the United States. So I get through it, right? I bypass that part of it. And the person starts telling me about what I would need to do. It sounded so legit. So it was right on, right? Leading me through and then says, can I have access? You would have to grant me access to your computer.
Oh, access to not your credit card yet.
No, my computer, right?
Okay.
And we know, being in business, that IT often will take on your cursor.
Oh, yeah.
They send you a
I like
consent.
when they do that.
I always liked it. Yeah. Sure, I'll send you my consent, and they start controlling my cursor and my computer, and they get me where I need to go. So this person says, this is what we're going to do. So long story short, this was my internet is connected to my husband's computer, right?
Right.
So he couldn't really do much. So he had to talk to my husband.
Okay, good.
So I get my husband, Jason, who, Jason.
Right.
He's an ex-Army Ranger. He's kind of an intimidating type of guy and very suspicious.
Well, he likes to ask questions.
Right. So right away he looks at me like, Pam, I don't know. But he talked to him. So now the guy tells him, okay, Jason, let me get access to your computer. There's blah, blah, blah. We're going to, I need you. And Jason goes, I can't give you access to my computer. And the guy goes, well, wait a minute. You have been hacked.
What?
You've been hacked. Jason goes, what are you talking about? I've been hacked. He says, sir, I am going through your profile. I'm going through your service, and I'm witnessing where you've been hacked, and I'm witnessing who has used your access. your username, your access. And Jason says, what are you talking about?
Good.
He says, well, sir, I can send you what I'm viewing, and we would have to, it's not malware because that's the normal one, but something to get rid of it. Gary, it was like these pictures of pornography that they sent him. And they said, this is on your computer. Jason says,
not today.
Yeah, not now. You're wrong. Hang up. And I'm going, oh my God, oh my God. And then he explains to me, Pam, this is such a scam.
Okay, Jason.
And it was,
did.
yes.
Yeah. No, that's terrible. Well, good thing you didn't lose any money or your whole computer system there.
Oh my gosh,
that's
right?
awful. Well,
it did happen.
The next one that comes to mind is called working at home scams. Now, I've kind of looked into these things. Okay. This is where, it's maybe you want to supplement your income. Maybe you're between jobs. It's very tempting to get onto, to see something. They're buried right in with everything else. Do you see what I'm saying? When you're looking for a job on job posting boards, Indeed, or these other ones, and here's something that says work from home.
That's so tempting to work from home for $1,000 a day.
And believe it or not, the Federal Trade Commission got in the last year 59,000 complaints about this alone.
Oh my gosh!
Can you believe that? Because the average person had lost $1,900 with this scam.
You're going to break my heart when you tell me those work at home and make all this money isn't true.
Yeah, and what it is, they'll say something like stuff envelopes, call people.
Right.
You just need to get the training. You have to pay for the training, and then you're going to make your $1 million, right? Assembling something. So the real scam is paying for the certificate. It's paying for, it qualifies you to be whatever. Buying the supplies, the box of envelopes, right, for $1,000.
Yeah.
Those types of the training program. It's very bad because, again, people are in a spot. They want to make some money. They want to do the right thing.
Oh, additional income.
And people, take advantage of them.
Oh, my gosh.
And just
Mom's
be aware.
working from home.
Oh, my gosh. What's the next one you got there?
Okay, the old sweepstakes scam.
Oh, I wish that was true.
Yeah, Gary, you won $50 million.
I get that on my phone every once in a while.
Do you?
It pops up. You're the You're the 100th person today. You get something.
Okay, so we get the emails or we get the envelopes. I'm sorry, the envelopes in the mail. Fill this out. Fill this out. Hey, you're in the top 10 to win $1 million.
Yeah, but it's a generic envelope, right?
Right, but you're so excited. You're not looking at that.
I can't believe it. We're one of the few, right?
Yeah, or you get a call that says, Gary, they know your name. Gary, I'm calling from ABC Sweepstakes.
Yeah.
You are the lucky recipient.
Or you're in the final.
Final group. You're in the final group of
Wow.
$1 million. These are scams for sure. And it is so targeted towards our elderly and our older population. Unfortunately, hearing that you may have won $1 million or you're in the top 3.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what, this can happen to anyone who, all of us, right, that would hope to win some money.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember a few years ago, this number of years ago, and it was around Christmas time. This is somewhat related, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And we're at the dollar store, one of those general stores, and here they have these bogus lottery cards, right? Did you ever see any of those things?
Oh, yeah.
You can buy them for like $1.
Right.
And we're passing around at Christmas time. We usually pass around lottery cards. That's one of those little stocking stuffers. And so we give to, I think it was my sister-in-law, we gave her the one that was going to win, right?
Yeah.
Scratches off $10,000.
Right.
Scratches next, $10,000.
What?
Scratches off like the third one, $10,000.
Oh my gosh!
Wins.
See, I think already I'm being punked.
Everyone's screaming, "Oh, I can't believe it!" And on the back it says, "Turn it into the Easter Bunny." Or it was so.
No, I hate that.
Oh, I think she probably still remembers. Yes, still remembers how painful.
So how they get away with this is, you're getting this call and you've won money, but then you're asked to send in money for the taxes and the fees to process.
Oh, is that how they reel you in?
Or they'll send you a check that doesn't clear. But at the end of the day, everyone needs to know that these legitimate sweepstakes are never going to ask you to pay anything.
Oh, yeah. That's probably one of the things. A couple of things along the way. I was thinking earlier today about scams. And again, I've been fortunate not to get pulled into one. But when I was younger, I was probably 10 years old or 12 years old, and we had a friend of the family come back from like Germany. I remember he's wearing his uniform. He came over to our house, and he's in the military. We're about halfway through dinner. He goes, I feel bad. I got in trouble today.
What?
And he was in the airport.
Yeah.
And this goes back to that imposter kind of thing. Somebody comes up to him, says they're like an FBI agent. They've been scanning, they're about to arrest somebody, but they need his help because
they came up to him?
Yeah, because he's in the military. He's an honest, good American.
Sad.
And, what he needs to do is like put his money in with their money, and it's all marked, and then they'll be, whatever.
You're kind of in a moral dilemma at that point.
Yeah, and then he's left there with some envelope. Don't open the envelope,
Horrible.
And then later opens the envelope, and it's like full of like toilet paper or something.
Oh, Gary. That's a true story.
Yeah. Oh, I still think about it. It's probably been 40 years ago. I'm still thinking about how awful that is. So the next one I've got is home improvement scams.
Okay, this has got to be huge, and I bet this preys on so many people of all ages.
Okay, and if there was one in my family, one I remember was these guys going down the street when I was growing up, and they stopped at our driveway, and they said, we just did so-and-so's driveway, we blacktopped it, right?
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be great to do your driveway right now? We've got some extra supplies.
That's right.
And we're here, and let's do this. And I think I probably went in and said to my mom, hey, you want this done? Our driveway it was like
you actually had the need.
Yeah, we had the need. It looked bad. It would look nice if it.
Well, I wouldn't think they'd go out and look for the nice driveways.
So whatever it took, these guys within 20 minutes painted our driveway with like black water is what it was, right?
Gary.
And, it looked really nice till it rained. And then it all like washed away.
Oh, no. And your mom paid.
Yeah, she paid happily to have her driveway.
What did she say after it washed away?
I think I didn't bring it up again.
Yeah.
But home improvement scams, we run into is when people want something up front, they want to be paid up front before they do the job, which it should be the number one clue, right?
Yes.
You should always get a written bid. You should always get a written estimate.
That's right.
Something in writing. Anytime that they want to do, and I've had this before, the lower surplus thing. I was doing siding on my house, and this guy was perfect. He pulls out of his pocket. He goes, "This is going to be $10,000." I said, "Oh my gosh!" He goes, pulls out of his pocket. But I've got something in a warehouse. It's half that much.
Oh, geez.
Well, it turned out to be legit. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But it was the idea.
But did you question?
Well, I was like, I'm such a cheapskate. It's like, well, if it looks good, but
okay.
But what sometimes these scams do is, they'll say they're just in the neighborhood. Like I said, have extra supplies, limited time offer. They want the money up front. There's a sense of urgency,
sure.
That they're only going to be there once.
Right.
This is the only time they're in the area there, and this is also playing up about elderly people because again, they don't always do home improvements, right?
That's right.
Things are leaking around their house. Things are broken. And here's somebody at the door willing to do this work.
Sure.
And so then what ends up happening is they may start it and never come back. That's probably the most common thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or they get the money and say, well, you're not on the schedule yet, those types of things.
Yeah.
Or the third one, which is I think happens a lot, is they start with something small and it escalates up. Hey, we were working on your gutters, and guess what? Your roof is leaking. Oh, guess what? Your sidings.
Oh, my gosh.
And next thing you know, and they had
So
one story I was reading where it ended up being a $200,000 like scam for a 65-year-old homeowner that started with something really little.
Oh, I feel awful.
And when it was all said and done, they turned over, basically everything they had to somebody.
I hate that. So, Gary, did you ever hear about genetic testing fraud?
Not really.
No, it's a thing. It's huge. So Medicare has seen a significant rise in complaints about genetic testing scams. And what happens is you may get a call or a text or an email from a very, very legitimate looking lab or company that tells you that they will do genetic testing, that your Medicare will cover the cost, and that their testing is so precise that they can detect cancer and any other medical conditions.
They're just the hope
immediately, and will even advise you on your treatment and where to go, and if should there be a problem.
Oh, so you give them blood or spit or something, right? And they can analyze this.
That's right. In the mail, sometimes people are sent cards, and it'll say, swab the inside of your mouth.
Oh, yeah. Isn't there colon cancer tests like that?
Yes, there are colon cancer tests that you don't swab the inside of your mouth
for that.
Those.
There you go. But there are legitimate ones out there, right? This is what always messes this up is you got legitimate stuff mixed in with other stuff.
You do.
Gary,
you're cracking me up today. So what happens is these poor people, it's called the fear factor because we all fear of the worst disease. We all fear the worst diagnosis. And every once in a while, these scammers will hit upon someone who might be feeling bad, right? Yeah. Who might not be in a good place with their health.
Sure.
And says, hey, I have a promising diagnostic for you. And then I can recommend promising diagnostics.
Yeah, I wonder how much that cost. I mean,
it's a lot of money.
And it goes back to if somebody contacted me and it's less than $100, I might pay more attention, right? If it's $5,000, I might not pay as much attention.
So some of these schemes range from like complex kickback arrangements to just plain criminals with identity theft, just obtaining your information for identity theft. And so people that are involved in these schemes, it can be just really bad providers, bad medical providers who are in on the scam, to just outright con artists. And so you always want to be careful if you get any correspondence about genetic testing or labs. Just let that be with you and your physician. Yeah. There's nothing out there over the internet that you wouldn't want to talk to your doctor about first.
Well, it's tied in a little bit, and I've not seen much of this, but one of the scams I came across studying this was called the celebrity scam, where you've got somebody, that's a well-known character, and you've seen him in some TV show 30 years ago, and now he's going, hey, you should do this or that. And, one of those things that pops out sometimes is like the reverse mortgage, the
oh my gosh,
the scam
yes.
of, or the sell your insurance up front kind of thing.
Right.
And, some of them, again, are legitimate, but some of them are probably not. And, again, people fall into these because they want to save on their taxes, right?
Yes.
They want to save on their inheritance. They want to, and if somebody says they're from the county assessor, they're saying, there's a fee involved. See, this is where with the mortgages, you end up saying, if you pay this, your mortgage fee will be less.
Yeah.
Well, in some regards, sometimes people actually look at real government information. Mm-hmm. You could have found that out yourself.
Oh, sure.
If you go and complain about your mortgage, they sometimes do adjust it. I've had that happen.
Yeah.
And in fact, here's my quick little story. I think I was in Memphis at the time, and I had all this statistics. They said, oh, you got to pay more in taxes. I get all this stuff, right? And I do the comparables, and I go in, and I remember I was in this little room, and I go, I've got all this information, and I don't think it's worth this. And the lady looks right at me going, well, we were going to lower it anyways.
What?
It was so it was so ridiculous. I think I was arguing for a higher tax, and they were willing to give me.
Oh, how funny.
I'm like, well, I think I'm done talking to you at this point. But I really, the other thing that jumps out are these robocalls, right? We talked a little bit about
gosh,
that.
Yes. Everybody's getting them all the time.
And again, I can't believe people actually respond. And I heard somewhere, this must have been with direct mail or something, that like 2% of people will respond to anything. They'll buy anything. Do you believe that?
Yes. But I got to tell you, I think about my poor mom and dad, if they were still alive, or even them, when they were alive, they probably would have answered their phone no matter what, right? Because they didn't grow up in an age where you had caller ID, and just if your phone rang, it was important. Yeah. There was a reason to answer that phone. And then to have this very concerning, legitimate professional voice on the other end start telling you some things that impact your life, that's just a very sad scenario.
And there's one, and I've seen this, I haven't seen it for a couple of years, that it's from another country. And when they call you,
yes,
they'll get an amount pulled off your bill if you talk to them. And what they'll say is, can you hear me? And if you say yes, you just paid $15.
Are you kidding me?
No. Isn't that the craziest thing?
I just learned something.
Yeah, and that's what they'll say.
So they have buzzwords.
Can you hear me? That's
can
the
you
phrase.
Hear me? So the thing is if someone says to you, can you hear me? You say,
Yes. And the minute you say yes, it's like $15.
No, but what you're supposed to say is
click. You're supposed to click and hang up the phone.
Okay, click. What if you say no?
It's usually the sign is if it's from some other country. But we've talked about, was it the Nigerian letters from the prince of whatever, and he needs to get out of the country.
Yes.
He just needs a little bit of your money to help him get.
Yes. So let's talk really quick because we're running out of time. Gosh, Gary, I think we could go on and on about scams, but the old romance scam.
Yes, tell me about that.
The old catfishing scam.
Yes.
Where people are on the internet and they get a DM from someone fabulous who's beautiful or very, very handsome, and they develop this connection. And then, and then this other person, they're arranging for a meeting, but then they get the message, oh, honey, I would love to come to the United States to see you. I had my plane arrangements, but I have a fee I have to pay, and I just can't afford it. And so you send them the $500 to pay whatever fee they made up. Gary, this is happening every day to people, this catfishing romance problem on the internet.
Oh, my gosh. Well, a couple other ones to just wrap it up here. And we encourage you to get out there and look at the Better Business Bureau and other places. But there's the fake accident scenario. In fact, this week I was in a nursing home, and somebody comes to the front door, and they said, hey, your van hit my car. What? It really did happen. I'm out there looking, their car was smashed, but it sure wasn't our van.
Oh, how did you know it wasn't?
There's something called a funeral home scam where they're trying to get you to buy now,
Those are sad, too.
The money owed. Again, you think about older people. If I was older and somebody called and said, hey, we're going to turn off your electricity unless you pay, I'd be worried, and maybe I didn't pay the bill. See what I'm saying?
No, maybe I did miss last month,
and
right?
And then any more, the new phrases these days is this cryptocurrency, right?
Yes, it's everywhere, and it has so much publicity about the greatness of buying into it and what Bitcoins and all that.
And so a couple of the tips that just comes up, one is that, if it's an odd-looking phone number, why are they calling me from some other country, right? Or why are they calling me from there? A delayed greeting. Sometimes that always kills me. There's a long pause, and then you hear sometimes a foreign name, foreign voice saying, hello, and you're going like, who is this,
Or you can't communicate with the person.
Right. And then they have problems with your name and your number. I know one of the accounts I have, believe it, they got my middle name, and it's Gary A. Vandenberg.
Yeah.
Right? But they've hooked the two, Gary A, together. So it's Gary I.
Gary.
And whenever I hear Gary, I know exactly.
It's a problem.
Oh my gosh, they always want to. They have trouble identifying themselves. There's a generic greeting. It's like they're reading something. It's all those types of things, and everything's canned.
Yes, and you have to act fast, and you have to act now.
Today.
And I just want all of our listeners to know that 99% of the time, if you are asked to wire money into someone else's account that you are not intimately known, that you don't intimately know,
right? That's
a scam.
Just hang up.
Just hang up. Just say no. All right, Gary, we could go on about the scams. There's so many, and so many scammers are preying on our vulnerable. With that said, thank you, Gary, for today. Thank you to our listeners, and we'll talk to you next time.